meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 11th Port Clinton City Council regular scheduled meeting at Port Clinton City Hall in the Linda Hartlove Chambers. Please stand for pledge of allegiance and a moment of silent reflection for those serving and protecting our country.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman.
Present.
Margaret Phillips.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
I'm here.
Kelly Gangle.
Here.
Pat Hovitt.
Here.
Jerry Trolley.
Present.
Kathy King.
Here. Thank you. Council, you previously received the May 28, 2024 regular meeting minutes and the May 29, 2024 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam President, I move for approval of both sets of minutes from the 28th and the 29th.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Any discussion? All right, okay. I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King to approve the May 28, 2024 regular meeting minutes and the May 29, 2024 special meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries and the minutes are approved. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding the compliance with the rules and notifications of this meeting. We have no guest presentation, public comment.
Lisa Gilman, 714 Taft Street.
Can I stand at this podium?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Okay. Madam President, I would like to make my comment addressed towards administration.
Can you please raise your voice so if
Oh, yeah. Madam President, I would like to make my statement addressed towards administration. One, because I don't like emails or phone calls. My statement is regarding the recent lawsuit that was published by Chandra Law Firm. I would first like to ask if the city is taking any action to address the Safety Service Director's comments made during a recorded conversation that came out in Ms. Kuski's amended suit. It was very unnerving that his first instincts were to protect Ken Johnson's name. And it makes me question the integrity of this administration. I would also like to ask if the city is going to do anything about the retaliation Rebecca Husky faced following her return to work, especially with Fire Chief Charles Zillman's actions towards her. I would also like to ask if the city administration is taking steps to make city workplaces safer and set up policies where something like this will never happen again. And I would also like to ask who appoints the Civil Service Commission and request that if it is up to this administration, they dismiss Carl Coble due to Rebecca Husky's amended suit that recently came out because it is conflict of interest and bias. And that is all.
So due to the pending lawsuit, they're not going to answer any questions because anything that is said by the administration is being used against the administration in the lawsuit. So after the lawsuit is over, I encourage you to speak with Mr. Colston and he can explain to you, one, I will say this, how distraught he was when he had to speak with Ken Johnson and how upset he was, and then also Mr. Johnson is suing the city now because the city did not play into his games and did not believe the lies we found out that he made. So, you know, that was a first impression conversation, and over the last year there's been a lot of information that came out, which had Mr. Colston had that conversation today, it would not be the same conversation. So that's what I could say about that. The mayor appoints the Civil Service Commission, And the city has attempted more than once to remove Mr. Coble. However, there is a very lengthy process to do that. And we were advised that after the testimony has been concluded, which it has not yet been concluded, that Mr. Coble will be addressed by the hearing officer, and it's basically up to him what he wants to do. So we can't control that either.
Okay. Thank you.
I won't have much, but first of all, thank you for bringing up those questions. They were fair questions. Unfortunately, she's right. She can't answer them, and some of them I do think were mischaracterized from what you read, but of course, that's the nature of the game. But my other question is, you said, when this is all done, do we have any kind of time frame? A week, a month, a year, 10 years? Do we have
We
any
don't know.
idea?
We do not know. There's 2 pending lawsuits, so we do not know. We don't know.
I mean,
We don't know how long they're gonna take.
I understand her frustration and the frustration of other people. We want to know answers. And I hate it when lawyers say, well, you know, it's on a lawsuit, I can't. But I understand that's how it has to be, but it's also frustrating. Any answers they can get would be appreciated.
It just, unfortunately, they cannot be answered in a public forum
Understood.
because this is being taped, and I'm sure, you know, I don't want anybody to use anything that's said against.
I'm not asking you
The city.
to. What you're saying, I understand. I'm just sure it's a little frustrating. I was trying to give you a timeline, but if you don't know, you don't know.
We have no idea, unfortunately, no idea.
Okay.
Also, yes, there is an investigation on the amended allegations Ms. Husky made. Unfortunately, a lot of these allegations we receive just like everybody else when they're published. So we don't know about them until after she and her legal team publish them, and then we have to scramble to figure out what needs to be done. But yes, there is an investigation that has begun, and I don't know how long that will take either.
So there will eventually be actions into rectifying the situation and making it a safer workplace in the future.
Well, there is an investigation into her allegations.
Okay.
Just because a person makes allegations doesn't mean they're automatically true, 100% accurate. That's why the investigation has to take place.
Right.
And it's being done by an outside agency, as the other 2 investigations were done. So I don't know what's gonna come of the investigations. I just, know that it's beginning. And we received that information after that complaint came out and acted very quickly on that.
I will say one thing that I think I can say with honesty, that I understand some of those things were troubling and you're worried about the workplace. No one knew any of those things. No one knew it wasn't a good workplace or even had any inclination it wasn't. Now, there's some questions about it, obviously. So I understand your concern. And yes, we have to make sure that doesn't happen, however that is.
And Mr. Morgan is 100% correct. Up until June 6, 2023, no one knew what was going on with regards to Mr. Johnson's conduct. We found out through Ms. Husky's attorney as to what was going on, and then the city acted very quickly to place Mr. Johnson on paid administrative leave, place Ms. Husky on paid administrative leave, as requested by her attorneys, and then start a very lengthy 2-part investigation, one which was completed by Clemens and Nelson, and 2 which was completed by BCI&I, and we're not even sure where they're at this point, but we know that both investigations were, BCI&I just recently completed theirs. So we don't know where it's going or what's going on with it, but the city did not want to, tamper with any of the investigations or even do the investigations because of all of the accusations that, are being made. We wanted to let independent third parties make the do the investigations, and as soon as the first report came in from Clemens and Nelson alleging the 3 reasons why Mr. Johnson was terminated, that process went swiftly as well, and he is now appealing his termination. He's not asking to be reinstated. No one is considering his reinstatement at this point. He's appealing his termination. And there's the last hearing, which is June 14th at 9 a.m. in municipal court. You're welcome to come. It's open to the public. But so every time the city has been notified of something, the city has reacted quickly and tried to remedy the problem. Unfortunately, we have not been notified prior to it. So unfortunately, it's trying to figure out what to do after the fact. But I can say that, the administration has been acting swiftly, working with the prosecutor's office to have these other companies come in and do the investigations. They do it, they submit a report, and the city has, I believe, reacted appropriately once we received the first report of Mr. Johnson's conduct. I don't know what's going to happen with BCI and I. The Henry County Prosecutor's Office has been appointed to review that, so we have no idea what's going on.
So can I ask, if this were to happen, let's say next week, at the fire department, someone makes allegations of sexual assault, who would that person report to?
Well, the procedure that is in the city's handbook is they would report to the Safety Service Director. The city is, currently, we're working with Clemens and Nelson to update the handbook. I believe the last one that was updated was 2014 maybe, so it's been quite some time. So we need to get that updated. The process was started with Clemens and Nelson discussions as to what needs to be updated, but that's what the current policy is, standing today.
Thank you.
We'll move on. Was that the only comment on it?
Yes.
Thank you. Move on to executive officers' reports. I have nothing this evening. I'm sure that the mayor will talk about the 4th of July festivities. So, Mayor Snyder.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Good afternoon. I will be brief because it's a beautiful day outside. As you all know, 2 of the 9 projects associated with the forward-looking infrastructure project have gone out to bid and have had bids accepted, those being the Lakeshore Drive sidewalk and crosswalk and Plan A Phase 1. Quick update, last Friday, just over $4 million was deposited in the city's account as part of Plan A Phase 1 from the USDA. There's a pre-construction meeting scheduled for June 18th, and at that point we're hoping to have a construction date set on that part of the forward-looking infrastructure project. With regard to the Lakeshore Drive crosswalk and sidewalks, the pre-construction meeting was held in this room today at 1 p.m. There were about a dozen folks in here, all the way from county engineers to ODOT to the contractors to Edison. It was amazing. It was amazing. Expect some work to take place this summer on that crosswalk, but the majority of that work will take place after Labor Day, most likely in late September, October, with a completion date of next year. The holdup right now with that are the poles themselves that will hold the lights. They're on back order. Just a reminder that this week is brush pickup. Again, it's the second Monday of every month for that week. Because of the volume of materials out there and the other tasks that the crews are having to undertake, it will probably take more than this week. So if anyone's out there, if you get calls from, hey, they didn't pick up my brush, they're getting to it, and they'll probably make another sweep or 2 next week to make sure they get everything. Again, they start on the west end and work their way east. Just an update on the mayflies. Obviously, we missed that one by a day. On May 1st, we contacted Edison and asked them to put us on the list. The date was set to have them turn off the lights on May 28th, and obviously they all got turned off as of yesterday, one day too late. There's not one master switch or even 10 master switches. They physically, First Energy physically has to touch each light. Go up in the bucket truck, take off the cover, do what they need to do, put the cover back on, come back down, go to the next light. There are some lights in the city that the city has access to. The walkway on Jefferson Street, Jefferson itself, and the 1 and 200 blocks, Madison Street, 2nd Street. Basically, the light poles that are black with the single bulb or double bulbs on top, the city can just flip a couple switches, but everything else has to be touched by Edison. Early in this process, it was 20 years ago now, when the mayflies started to appear again, First Energy would allow city crews to do that, but they no longer allow city crews to go out and physically touch their stuff. When are they coming back on? Don't know. The fishermen, Tracy keeps in good contact with some of the charter boats, when they started to see the larvae floating on the top of the water, that's when we called Edison. When they stopped seeing the larvae floating on the top of the water, that's when we'll call Edison again and say, hey, turn them back on. So we'll see what happens. And probably one of the most important things to talk about tonight, as the President of Council alluded to, is fireworks. As you all recall, I made an off-the-cuff comment that Margaret should shave her head for fireworks, and she said, yeah, I'll do it if you raise $20,000. To this date, there have been $6,120 donated to the Shave Margaret Head Fund. And yes, I will admit some of that money came in before, but we're going to count it anyways because I want to see this happen. That means that at this point, we are $3,297.55, 3297.55 short of what we need for this year, and $13,880 short of shaving that nice woman's head. So that concludes my report this evening, unless anyone else has any questions.
Move on to the auditor's report, Mr. Velo.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, good evening. As the mayor said, on June 7th, the city closed its its first several USDA loans to fund the road improvements. The amount was $4,355,000 at a 3.5% interest rate over a 15-year term. So the debt schedule, those payments will start in December of this year. It will be just under $400,000, which will be funded out of the road levy that the voters so graciously approved years ago, and that'll be the source of repayment going forward. I'm happy to answer any questions, but happy to report that that's been done, and the next thing is breaking ground, I think. So. And thank you for acting swiftly at the special meeting prior so that we could get the financing in place.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we be told who the contractor is yet, or is that still, we'll keep that hush-hush yet? I don't know.
I think we're fine. Erie Blacktop.
Erie? Yep, wonderful company. Thank you.
Thank you. The treasurer's not with us this evening.
I have
Oh, you
numbers.
do?
Yes.
Okay.
Bed tax as of yesterday, $67,192.71. Dock tax, we're at $18,639.14. And to date, as of yesterday, the short-term rental registration fees, we have $53,700.
Law director.
I don't have anything tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Safety service director.
Nothing like Madam President.
Thank you. We're on to committee reports. Finance, Ms. Lewis.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Environment and Public Works, Mr. Trolley.
Yeah, I apologize to my committee members. I told them we'd have a meeting soon, and it was the last council meeting. I'm going to get with Mr. Colston here next few days when he has a moment, and then set up a meeting. It's been
Okay.
a while.
Just
Thank you.
let the clerk know so that she can post the appropriate paperwork, okay?
Thank you.
Safety services, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. Economic and Community Development, Ms. Gilman.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. We have nothing under correspondence. Under readings of ordinances and resolutions, we have nothing this evening. Business from the floor. Mr. Morgan.
I got nothing either.
Thank you. Mrs. Gangle? Ms. Phillips.
Nothing much. I think that I saw the brush people out this day, and it was really nice to see, because people have been picking up other people's garbage and like limbs and branches and putting them in their yard, so they're not left in the street and everywhere else. I think it just adds to the city.
Ms. Lewis?
Oh, no, nothing.
Thank Mr. Trolley.
I know we're shorthanded, but the crew is doing a heck of a job. It looks good out there. Mr. Colston, if you can pass that on.
I will.
I think it looks good, but that's only me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. King.
Nothing today.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman.
Nothing tonight, I know we don't like, oh, I say nothing tonight, I know we don't like the mayflies, nobody wants to see them, they don't smell the best, but they don't bite, they don't sting, and it's actually kind of good to know that the lake is a little bit healthier than it was in the past, so I don't hate the mayflies, and it, you know, it just makes us like that horror film adventure city. I'm just glad they don't bite, nothing in the presence of it.
Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourn.
Thank you, do I have a second? Thank you. I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Thank you, we're adjourned.